Hey UTV Boondockers. So in today's episode, we're going to install the SpearUTV rear view mirror. Now, it comes in 3 different styles and sizes. So these are 9 inches, 13 inches, and 17 inches. I chose to install the 13 inch. It was a good size for me. And I like the single mount arm that it has to go on the top bar. The 17 does have 2 arms. So those with the Ride Command speaker bar that goes up top, you might want to check to make sure that fits. I was sort of researching that too to see if it would fit with the 2 bars in it. Anyhow, let's move on. I want to talk a little about what I have today and one of the great reasons I want to switch over to it. Well, as you can see, this is the Polaris mirror, and it's a nice mirror. However, the range of motion for me is it's a little limited. I did put in the Ford Escape wiper motor, so it can't go much farther than that. Also, I could move it over from side to side, but I kind of like it right where it's at. So what am I gonna do? Well, I've been thinking about other mirrors, and then when I talked with Dale and he said he had a new lineup of UTV products, including mirrors, I couldn't resist that. But there's a really cool thing about these mirrors that I haven't seen yet. They're lighted. So you get basically map lights. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna open up this box, we're gonna check it out, and then we're gonna get going on the install, and I'll show you how to do it. So stay tuned. A special thanks to SpearUTV for sending us this mirror and allowing us to install and review it for them. Please take a moment and go to SpearUTV.com and take a look at the products that they have. You can use the discount code below to get 10% off your purchase. Thanks. Now let's get back to the install. So it's always fun to do a little bit of unboxing here. Yes, I peeked a little bit like a little kid, but what do you do? So let's see what's in here. It comes with all the wiring. It even comes with a switch. Here's the style of the switch. So that's upside down, but nonetheless, it's gonna match what I have in there, which works out pretty well. You'll see it also comes with all of the hardware to mount it. So we're gonna dig into this a little bit. And then the mirror itself, I have yet to pull it all the way out. Okay, so that was a little easier with 2 hands, but it's pretty well made. Actually, it's pretty hefty. Yeah, actually this is really nice. This is literally my first time looking at it, but you can see all the LEDs in the bottom, which that's pretty sweet looking. I am pretty pumped to put this in and check it out. So overall, very thin. It's got a good weight to it. Feels like it's built very, very well. So let's go ahead and get it out of here, go through the instructions really quick, see what all we need to do, and get going on this thing. Pretty excited. All right, so I was able to get everything out of the box here and set it up for you to display. Looks like it comes with all the tools you need. It comes with the brackets. Now the brackets do bolt up to the General, no problem. I'll be installing this in a 2017 Polaris General. So it also gives you a couple set screws, which will go in here. A variety of screws for these, depending on the diameter size of the bar you're gonna put it in. And of course, some little lock washers along with these here, which will be for this. So to get started, you'll need to get the mirror, and I was taking a look at this and thinking, how do I put this in? It looks like this won't go in that way, it has to go up underneath. So you'll slide this one in, and that's got a fantastic range of motion. So once this is in there, there's a couple retaining spacers. This is a concave right there to fit in there. So that will go in. There's another one to go in there to take off some of the slack, a larger set screw that you'll put in there. So we can tighten that up with a large one. Now once that is in there, this piece will go ahead and screw into the back of this. So once you get it set where you like it, there's a set screw to hold it in there. And then of course you'll mount it up. There's a little rubber band here to put around the bar to keep it from moving and scratching and so on and so forth. And then these here most likely will set it in place so you can keep it up nice and tight up against there without it moving. So actually looks pretty straightforward. Now the switch is very simple. What's really nice too is a lot of these, they give you directions, but they can be sometimes a little complicated because you want the switch to light up, you know, when it's not in use. Then when you turn it on, they usually have different areas that light up. This one's pre-wired and ready to go. So basically the way this is set up here is, here's your 2 wires. You'll need to put ends on them. So depending on where you're connecting this to, you will need to get the wire ends. They are not provided in the kit, but that's no big deal. Those are pretty inexpensive. You can get them just about anywhere. So this would go off your power source, and in my case it would be underneath my hood, my distribution block, And then this longer wire here, which they give you plenty of wire. It looks like a lot. I'm not sure exactly how much, at least 10 feet. So that'll go ahead and you can fish all that all the way through, and then that'll plug in over here. You disconnect up in the top part, and then we'll disconnect here, and we could fish that down underneath of the dash and get it right into the switch. So I'm gonna get right to it now that we know how this whole thing's gonna work. So stay tuned, we're gonna have instructions to follow. Okay, quickly before we get into the install too much, I did wanna mention that I just put on this one nut, the lock washer, and then the other washer. This ended up being a 14 millimeter, and then this is flat right here. As you can see, this, I held it with a 6 millimeter and used a 14 to tighten this up. For the Polaris General, if you happen to have the Polaris mirror like I did, it's kind of cool. This medium-sized Allen wrench fits it, which is kind of nice. I didn't have to go hunt for that. Another thing is, for this, you're going to need to just use these smaller two, and then a couple washers. So you'll have a couple spare parts left over. Pretty much most all of that stuff, minus one of the set screws. So the two short ones will work just fine if you're using a Polaris General. It does allow for larger bars, but for the top bar that you mount in the Polaris General, this is what you're gonna need. So anyhow, another little tip is when I went to disconnect the negative right there, it was a little difficult and I might have yanked that a little bit, so I tucked it up in there and I put some liquid electrical tape on it, which worked out quite well. I had to cut away some of that shielding on there. It was a little difficult to remove, so plan for that. The positive came off just fine, so just be careful when you pull it off not to rip the wire out, or you'll have to splice that back together. So that's what I have so far. So now the next step is we're gonna go up there, do a test fit of this, and then we're gonna run all the wires through, and once I get things sorted, I will show you some of those tips. Well, there you have it. It is mounted. Actually went quite well. These guys up here, just, you know, be careful when you put these in, start them, and don't cross thread. So I just started a little bit on this one, did a little bit on the bottom one, tightened it up pretty good, and then after I adjusted it generally where I wanted it, which that's pretty darn nice, I just did this set screw right here to put it right where I needed it to. It's got an excellent range of motion. I like the view. I'm pretty happy with it. And I just ran the wires up top here, ran them all the way down the side here, and there's a little hole, hard to see it, but it's in there, and it goes that way. And you could reach up under your dash and grab the wire and then feed it over. In fact, it's actually pretty easy to put it through here and through this side and go up behind here. Now, if you have the ride command and you can't take that out, you can easily get to it from underneath here as well. Run it up, and here's the switch. Actually matches the others, looks pretty good. Now let's flick it on and let's see. Wow. Yeah, that's quite a bit of light. That's a noticeable difference. So yeah, I'm very happy with this install. I definitely recommend this. So as far as power, you notice I have a switch. I have a dual battery setup, but if you don't have that, that's fine. Generally, in the Generals, they have a couple spots. This is a 2017, so it's a little bit older. This is the distribution block that I added that goes to my second battery, but these three, you can see they're a little overloaded. But really, they only have a few things. They have my radio and heated seats. Is the only two things I wanted to go direct to the battery, and you don't have to worry about blowing a fuse for those two. So you can use these three posts. And the newer Generals, they have a whole bus system over here it's pretty slick, that obviously this one doesn't have, so you could tie it into those as well. So you have a few wiring options. You know, if you have any questions, go ahead and post them down below. Overall, this was really easy. So and I'm very, very happy with the results. So if you like this, it was helpful, click that like button, please. Just take a second, click that, and then subscribe right down in the corner over there. Appreciate it. You guys have a great day.